Merry Wednesday, one and all. Anna. I'm Steffi Graf. Welcome back to Grand Prix World. We have a lot of very pissed off people in the team, but that's okay because I've got a positive feeling that we might just be able to turn that around this year, turn some frowns upside down, so to speak. Our driver lineup continues for the third year to be Toru Takagi and Shinji Nakano as joint number ones, with Hiroshi Tanaka joining us as a test driver. Currently, Toru Takagi is fighting for his life within the team. Now, obviously, the rules of the playthrough require that we take on this Japanese character, but I don't think that necessarily extends to needing to have a Japanese test driver. So once we get off the addiction to pay driver money, which we're starting to come out of that period now, it really comes down to who can provide the best performance. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Tanaka's stats are worse than Takagi's, and you would be absolutely correct. But he will develop very quickly once given a chance to jump behind the wheel. He's a year older than Takagi. Not such a big deal in the 90s. Drivers started later and finished later than they do today. So he's got a few years left in him yet, probably a good 10 or so. We have some designers to hire. So, aims for this year. We want to regularly score points. Ideally, that's making presumptions about where the car is. We want to be testing more frequently, and we want to be increasing the quality of our staff until the point we're totally full of the best possible staff, plus some apprentices for reasons we've talked about before. And at that point, we want to expand the factory. That's not something I'm going to indulge in early, but it is something we're going to indulge in eventually. Now, this is a flyaway race. What that means for us is the costs of attendance are going to be higher than normal. That kind of limits our options going into the first round. Where options are also limited is in engine choice. As you well know, we are tied for the duration of this playthrough to the Mugen Honda engine supplier, which means we will never have a Works engine deal. We do, however, have a Works deal with Mobile One that we're seeking to extend. So we're starting negotiations on that early, and we're also chasing PlayStation and HSBC. I'm going to prioritize the Works deal, actually. That makes much more sense. So, we are running as well hospitality. That's primarily to keep Mobile One and Mugen Honda happy so that they will sign with us quickly and cleanly. I'm going to stay conservative on how much we spend on hospitality for the moment, just until we get an idea of what our cash flow looks like. Now, it should be very, very strong, actually. We're currently estimating about 1.8 million per Grand Prix, minus overheads and race attendance and so on. It does mean, though, I'm a little nervous about running testing and getting the cars back into race-worthy condition. I'm going to do it anyway because I think the best thing we can do is allow our drivers to show what the car's capable of, and to get an idea of whether we're going to have another dire season, in which case we conserve our resources and focus super strongly on next year, or if it's actually worthwhile us developing this year's car. We're currently working on a traction control system. We're going to reduce our focus on that fairly significantly. It's not a huge deal for us. In terms of technology, we are going to make some improvements, primarily to reliability of the throttle assembly. We don't want that failing on us. And I'm already going to start work on the 2002 car because we may get a head start if the regulations allow for it. We can always take people off in order to develop the 2001 car. We just have to wait and see. So, what are we going to do in terms of testing? Well, we're going to spend more money than we have in the bank on the basis that we should have we should have more money coming in, is the hope. Um, how are we going to spend that? Let's take a look first of all at the kind of contracts we have. So there's no point us running engine testing because we have no input on this at all. We also don't have priority for upgrades, so we're probably not going to receive more than 1 or 2 upgrades over the whole season. We can respec our tires as we like. To be honest with you, I'm fairly happy with the tires that we've got. The soft tire could maybe use a bit of love, but I might wait for the second version to come out, which hopefully will be fairly soon, although again we don't have priority. Now, race fuels is where we're going to be doing the primary testing because we actually have control. Now, we don't have priority, which means updates are not going to be with us every Grand Prix, but we do get quick updates, just not priority. And we are in total control of development of these fuels. So these will work better for us than they do for other teams, and we will get specifications of race fuel just for us. So that's actually really important. We are also going to have to work on research and development. It's kind of hard to know specifically how many mechanics we can afford to spare. I'm probably doing a bit too much there. But let's see. I'm actually going to spend way more money than we have because we should be fine. Famous last words, I know. I'm going to go for a fairly even spread in terms of... have we not built a car for Tanaka yet? I thought we already had 3 cars. What's going on? Apparently we haven't. Okay, so we'll build that next round. That's important. It's good we knew that, though. It's good that we knew that. That means actually it's still okay that we're spending that money, I would think. But let's see how we go. Not the best results on the fuel, but that's fine. We're getting an idea of how much we get out. Wasn't enough testing as well to improve our setup, so we still have a long way to go in our testing program, but this is a good initial readout. What that's telling me is we definitely need to bring the third car into play, and we need to divert more resources into the fuel program if we're going to get anything worthy of the name development program going. Nevertheless, we've earned 3 out of a possible 5 setup points per driver, and we're actually going to allow our drivers to compete. We're actually going to let them push the car a little bit. I'm going to allow Nakano a little bit more leeway, reason being that he is the more capable driver. Miyata is not available to 2003. He is on our radar though, and that's why we're looking for a 1-season deal with Nigel Stepney. Might as well get the best if we're only getting him for 1 year. Okay, that tells me we are pretty much ready to proceed. Now, the hard tyre actually looks pretty phenomenal, and I'm kind of thinking that I might run both cars on the hard compound tyre. That may prove to mask somewhat the true potential of the car, but I can live with that. I think it's a risk worth taking at the start of the season. So we will turn Takagi down to 3 points on everything, and Nakano we will push to 4. He's a better driver all round. Hopefully that works out okay. They're equal number ones, so if one's faster than the other, they're not going to hold each other up, is the hope. Right, best of luck everybody. Let's see what we can do at round 1 of the 2001 season. Running down the drivers and teams, just so we've refreshed that in our minds, McLaren are fielding David Coulthard and Damon Hill. That's 2, I believe they're the last 2 World Championship winners, so that's quite the lineup for them. Arrows keep hold of Eddie Irvine and Mika Salo. Williams retain Mika Hakkinen and partner him with Giancarlo Fisichella, who comes in replacing Esteban Tuero. Johnny Newhouse and Heinz-Harald Frentzen, the Williams lineup from the start of the game, have reunited at Ferrari. Frentzen moving from Prost. Taking his place at Prost is Pedro Diniz, moving over from McLaren, and he partners Ralf Schumacher, who is retained. Barrichello and Alesi stay best buds over at Sauber. Johnny Herbert and Stefan Sarazan at Stewart. Panis and Alberto Marini at Jordan. Takagi and Nakano stay on at an all-Japanese Tyrrell. Patrick Rainbow and Alexander Wurz stay on at Benetton. And Gianno Trulli and Riccardo Rossi at Minardi. It's fairly mild, 23 degrees, dry with a strong wind for quali. Quali pace may be a little off, given that we're on the harder of the two available compounds, but let's see how we do. 11th and 13th, now that's definitely an improvement over where we were last year. David Coulthard is your first pole sitter of the season, though, on a 1:30.645, ahead of Johnny Newhouse in the Ferrari, Olivier Panis in the Jordan, Damon Hill in the McLaren. P5 goes to Heinz-Harald Frentzen in the Ferrari, and Giancarlo Fisichella's Williams takes P6. Now, we are about 1.1 seconds off pole with our fastest guy, and in this case it's Takagi. He may just be better on the hard compound, to be honest. Prost continued to languish down at the bottom. Sauber and Minardi have also dropped down. Meanwhile, it's a hell of a recovery for Benetton, and the ultimate fall from grace goes to Arrows, Eddie Irvine and Mika Salo, regular podium sitters and championship contenders, actually, last season, are dead last by quite some way. Yeah, they're close to 3 seconds down on us, so a lot of work for them to do. Temperatures cool slightly for the race, which means we should have a little more engine power, not that we have that much to play with. We will be one-stopping both cars. Takagi will be stopping first, as he is qualified ahead. He will do a 38:40 stint. And he will have fresh boots all the way. We will stop Nakano on a 39:39 split. He will run scrubbed tyres on the first stint and fresh boots on the second. I actually think that may be the way to go here, but we will see. Actually, no, I'm going to put him on fresh boots first and then change to scrubbed. So maybe he's faster at the end. Okay, cross your fingers, cross your toes, cross your eyes. Let's see what happens. Oh, just outside the points. That's not a bad showing for us, to be honest. David Coulthard wins from pole position in the McLaren. Mika Hakkinen challenging for the win in the Williams. Podiums rounded out by Heinz-Harald Frentzen in the Ferrari. Alberto Marini takes P4 for Jordan, Alexander Wurz P5 for Benetton, and Olivier Panis P6 for Jordan. There's quite a gap actually between Nakano and Rainbow in the slower of the two Benettons, so with a bit more attrition, maybe we could pick up points, but the question now is whether we actually develop the car or not. Also, there's a lot of cars who qualified ahead of us have ended up dropping out, which may be flattering our form a little bit. The car, however, is clearly better than last year, which is all we can hope for. No surprises in the championship just yet then, because we're only one round down. Great, we've made a solid profit. Can't really say fairer than that, can you? Alberto Marini has won his first championship point. Jordan have two cars in the top 6. Heinz-Harald Frentzen got the fastest lap. Patrick Rainbow will be moving to McLaren next year. Sauber have picked up Johnny Herbert, and Williams have signed Alexander Wurz. A lot of early movement in the drivers' market. That's surprising. Dave Richards is the favoured manager of the moment. Speaking of staff and managers and so on, we need to continue boosting our talent pool. So a boost there for commercial. Will be boosting design as well. That's excellent. Construction, there's no one there, but there are some more mechanics that we can pick up. Awesome. Right, we were in negotiations with Nigel Stepney. Now, we know from the news we just saw that people are after him. So let's see if he... Yeah, we don't have a strong enough sponsorship package. Doesn't mean we've totally lost out on him, though. The morale of the departments is creeping up ever so slightly. Probably from the fact we had a double finish and the cars are looking okay. In terms of drivers for next year, we want to... Drivers are being sucked up very, very quickly. We want to make sure that we retain Nakano. I will offer him a 3-season deal. He may choose not to take it. Why don't I try a 2-season deal? No, shit, he wanted 3. Okay. But actually, I can try signing him again here. And we get round that. Okay, awesome. So we've retained Shinji Nakano. The question is Takagi. That really is the question. He's going to be sucked up really, really quickly because he's the second or third highest. He'll be the third highest pay driver now. So the question is whether to take on Tanaka. What I'm thinking is I will extend them both for 1 season, and we'll make the decision next year. And he can either choose to take a 1-season deal or he can not. I can't really say fairer than that. Okay. We'll try next time out. So, what else is going on? We've picked up a bit of damage. Kel's surprise. Not damage, sorry, wear. We have some testing to be done as well. What's going on in Design World? No major progress, but we are close to getting a handle on this year's car. So, actually, we can't afford to build a car for Tanaka right now. That sucks. We will be able to once we're away from the flyaway races. We just still have to be quite careful about what we're doing. Right. We're going to move some resources around. That's what's going to happen. We're going to try and use less mechanics. We have to do less mileage because we can't afford... It's $2,000 a mile at this Grand Prix. That's a bit rich for my blood, to be honest with you. We will do 100 miles of testing. That's really not a lot. But we will be a lot more judicious with the focus of the drivers. See what we get here. Not great. However, we know our car has 59% on the handleometer. That's actually pretty reasonable. That's a solid midfielder, actually. It's, I would say, probably worth developing if our cash flow improves. We'll probably be looking at the European season before we make any progress there. In the meantime, we can order our first new specification of race fuel. We're going to improve engine tolerance. No new tyres, no new engines. That's totally fine by me. We are 118,000 in the red, but we should he says, be able to make it through. No biggie. Car 2 will be running with a bit of wear, but whatevs. In terms of the commercial side, we have a 2-season deal from Mugen Honda on the table. That's good news. Only a partnership on offer from Mobile One. That's unfortunate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak to Shell, and we'll keep 15% negotiating towards this partnership. In terms of cash, HSBC are offering 1 season 2.5 million and PlayStation 2.4 million, so we're going to focus on HSBC. It's unlikely that we'll get them, but this is the time that we would go. Mugen Honda are not prepared to deal with us, so we will be bringing Shell to the next Grand Prix and HSBC and PlayStation. What I'm actually going to do as well, as it's a flyaway race, is I'm going to reduce our spending on hospitality in the hope that that helps us improve things. In fact, actually, do you know what? I may not even run hospitality at this stage. I don't think it's actually helping us, and we need the cash for other things. I'm going to try and tie out that Mugen Honda deal as quickly as possible. I think that's important. Right, on we go. Going to keep things set up as they were. Nakano is going to have a slight advantage on the setup front, just because he's been more consistent. He's running on a more worn car though. I'm going to try him on the soft compound tyre here and just see how the car is on the softs. It's still a very much an experimental season for us, so we will see how we get on. 29 degrees and with some cloud cover for qualifying in Brazil. Okay, Nakano out-qualifies Takagi, but it's very, very close, which tells me there's not really a huge amount of difference. The softs are probably faster, and maybe the wear on the car is having some drag effect, but it also looks like the Goodyear tyres... Oh, actually, no, everyone's on Goodyear except us. The Goodyear tyres are going to develop really, really good this year. Johnny Newhouse is your pole sitter for Ferrari. David Coulthard keeps him company on the front row. Häkkinen and Marini make up row 2. Fisichella and Wirtz row 3. 27 degrees, slightly cooler for the race. We will be doing fresh boots for Takagi, and he will be stopping only once, lap 36 for him. Nakano will be stopping twice, running lighter fuel. Hopefully he can get away fast and get in front of his teammate and then maximise that strategy, but obviously we won't know. Points finish. Points on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Newhouse is your winner from pole position for Ferrari. Giancarlo Fisichella takes P2 for Williams. Alberto Marini takes P3 for Jordan. David Coulthard slips down to P4 for McLaren. Toru Takagi, P5 for Tyrrell. And Alexander Wirtz takes P6 for Benetton. Nakano finishes just outside the points. Should have been on hards. Again, very high attrition in the Grand Prix. Brake failures taking out both Stewarts. Damon Hill failing to finish due to suspension problem on his McLaren. Both Arrows failed to finish for the second Grand Prix in a row. Frentzen in the Ferrari and Häkkinen in the Williams both failed due to engine trouble. Accident takes out Jean Alesi Sauber. Brake failure on Ralf Schumacher's Prost. A lot of these cars seem very flimsy. David Coulthard is your points leader at the moment, 13 points. Johnny Newhouse is 10. Marini, Fisichella and Häkkinen are in a fight for P3, 7, 6 and 6 points respectively. Toru Takagi 6, P8 between Wirtz and Panis. In the Constructors we are P6, so last on the point scorers table, but we're on the point scorers table with 2 races done, so that's pretty good. Huge profit from the last Grand Prix, enough that we can build a new car, which is superb. We also have a success card to play, which we're going to spend on Shell. because they are offering us a works deal. Now, admittedly, it's only for 1 season, but to hell with it. Let's do that. No progress from HSBC or PlayStation. But, you know, whatevs. Whatevs. In terms of development, we've got a reliability upgrade for the throttle assembly. I'm going to actually put a improvement on our brakes, performance improvement this time. No clarity yet on next year's regulations, but that was to be expected. So, wow, that's expensive for a new car. I might save that money because I think we can get that cheaper. On the staffing front, no one new to hire, but we still need a new chief mechanic. I've got a feeling Stepney will be gone. No, he's not. Let's try again. Oh, look at that. We've got Nigel Stepney in the team for 1 season. Apropos of fucking nothing. Good man. Okay, in terms of drivers, I'm going to offer Takagi again. It's still too short. Yeah, not much. I really don't want to sign him for 3 seasons. I think that's unnecessary, and it kind of makes Tanaka pointless. But nevertheless, we shall plod on. So, what will I spend my money on? Excessive testing, I suppose. We will also be applying that technology upgrade to the car. I think that's money well spent. Okay, that should be enough spare parts to cover what we need to do. And again, we're going to change our focus a little bit in testing. We're going to run a very, very focused test program. So, what do I mean by that? Something like this. Maybe just 300 miles of testing. And oh, wow, those cars are worn. Okay, what's the maximum I can get out of one spare part? Oh, quite a bit actually. This is difficult. Actually, we need more mechanics to make this work comfortably. Okay, I think that should be enough. Let's see what we get. Oh, that's actually quite good. So that means we can actually begin now developing some new barge boards for next year's car, which is exactly what we are going to do. It'll be a late update and will probably be the only update package we bring this year, but it could be enough to get both cars into the points if we are some lucky ducks. Okay, so we've got some repair work to do. Yeah, we're going to be running a very worn car for Nakano, unfortunately, but he's just going to have to live with that, as Takagi is our only point scorer so far this year. Again, not running any hospitality on the non-European races. The costs are just way too significant for the perceived benefit. We may see a failure to finish with Nakano, given his car is so badly worn, but we'll do what we can. And we have our new specification race fuel. I'm going to leave him on the soft compound, actually. Just hedge our bets. So, last round of this episode. 17 degrees, quite cold in Argentina compared to the first two races of the season. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, Nakano does have problems. He fails to meet the 107% time, which tells me that the car really does need to be kept in good condition if we're going to get results. But that's good to know. Takagi qualifies P11. Frentzen takes pole for Ferrari ahead of Coulthard, Newhouse, Marini, Fisichella, and Hakkinen. 19 degrees for the race. We'll be doing lap 36 will be the stop for Takagi. Fresh boots both times. No points this time. Engine failure takes him out, so a failure to finish and a failure to start. Not the best, but Mika Hakkinen is your winner for Williams, ahead of Johnny Newhouse, David Coulthard, Giancarlo Fisichella, Marini, and Wurz, making Coulthard your drivers' championship leader, 1 point clear of Newhouse and Hakkinen. Fisichella and Marini are fighting out for P4, 9 points apiece, and Frentzen and Wurz fighting out for P6, 4 points apiece. In the constructors, Williams sit on the top at the moment, 25 points to Ferrari's 20, 3 points clear of McLaren on 17. Huge profit, even bigger than last time, and some good progress on the Shell deal. That's good. We may land a works contract yet. Some progress as well on the engine deal. No progress so far on the sponsor front, but there's time to play with. In other news, fairly solid progress on the update package. I'm going to actually focus on that. I think that's going to yield far more benefit than anything else that we're working on. I've left 5% on the driver aids because we're so close to being finished. Our car design for next year is illegal. We caught that early enough that we can still do something about it. It does nullify the benefit, but whatever. Now you'll notice that I didn't order another fuel update last time. That actually, I should have mentioned at the time, that actually was intentional. Reason being that we wouldn't have made things easier on ourselves by ordering updates every Grand Prix. Believe it or not at this stage anyway. Because the testing is so inefficient, what I'm going to try and do is bring forward a much stronger specification of race fuel that aligns with us bringing out the update to the car. That should allow us to be a little bit more conservative on testing spending and still meet a target. It's very key, particularly because we don't have works money coming in, and won't have the big works money coming in from engine suppliers. It's good to sort of aim for efficient and constant moves forward rather than perpetually bashing out new specifications. Right, we have damage on both cars, we have wear on both cars. I think that tells me it's probably time. Yeah, look at that. The price for a new car has come down significantly. That makes me a very happy man. Morale is going up in our construction department as well. That's bringing down costs in terms of manpower and actual financial cost. There we go. I'm going to hire some new mechanics. There we go. And Takagi. What to do with a problem like Takagi? See, we're kind of stymied by the fact that there are only 3 East Asian drivers in the game, and they're all signed to us already. just double checking my facts there, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yes, it is. Because the thing is, that we could actually pick up significant money from Dario Loretti. We could get 10 million from Dario Loretti. But he's not Japanese. He's Italian. I tell you what, you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. And other than that, all I can possibly ask of you is that you have the best Wednesday possible. And I will talk to you guys at the weekend or before. Have a good one. Bye bye.